Vegas Live with Ninon. I have Zee Ali with me, and she's been just waiting patiently to come on the show. And as you know, I don't pre-interview my guests. Some of them I know, some of them I don't, or I've known them, had them on my show before. Zee, I've known on and off through Vegas, but I really have never known what she does. She's in the humanitarian business, high executive, and apparently never went to college. That's what I know, but that's it. So, how are you, Zee?
I'm pretty good.
You look beautiful, huh? Where are you originally from?
I was born in the Caribbean, grew up in Canada, and got transferred to North Carolina. So I've been around. Now
she's
I've been
in
around
Vegas.
in a good way.
How did you get into Vegas? Did you like Vegas?
This is the most fun I've ever had because I've worked all of my life, but I quit my job in Florida. I was working downtown Miami.
So you've been
I've been around, yes. I'm a world traveler as well.
You're a world traveler.
I do historical tours.
I've never heard. Oh, this is something new. What do you mean historical? Have you been to England? Because England is very, very old. We have fabulous places for people to go to.
Really?
Castles and all that stuff and history.
Same like Egypt.
Yes.
And Turkey.
Yeah, I think they're all old.
No, their history is amazing.
Yeah, history. But isn't history wonderful? Not many people do history.
My last trip was Cuba, and my last cruise was Alaska.
What did you think of Alaska?
Well, okay. So I said I've been around. I was born in the Caribbean, and then I relocated to Calgary, Alberta. I live with a wonderful uncle and aunt, and my uncle worked for CN Telecommunication, then he got transferred to the Canadian Arctic.
Oh, wow.
So I lived where the Eskimos and Indians live.
And
close to the North Pole.
So you're going to write a book?
Yes, my book is called You First, A New Beginning.
A new beginning. You first, then
new
beginning. So what is a new beginning? What is that telling people?
Okay, I've worked all of my life. I did attend college for advertising and PR in Edmonton, Alberta.
Okay.
And I worked in HR for most of my life. Under the umbrella of human resources, you've got recruitment, you've got benefits, payroll, you've got so many different avenues.
Human resources, you built yourself up. Obviously, you started at the bottom, and you built yourself up.
Well, I've always been a corporate recruiter. So I started as a corporate recruiter, and then because I excelled at what I did, I was promoted to filling the higher end positions at like an IBM corporation, global engineering company.
And how did you recognize all these people that would come to you and say, I need a job? I mean, they give you resumes, they give you all that stuff, but then you have to kind of present this to the corporation that's hiring, and you want to make sure you send them the right person. That's hard.
Right, but everything's automated. So if you post a job on Monster, Career Builder, Jobbing, Indeed, the system pulls out the buzzword. It does the search behind the scene based on the buzzword. So in your inbox, if you look at required and desired, what you're looking for, it narrows the search.
It narrows it down.
So by the time I interview and screen a person, and I submit 3 people, one's getting the job.
So this is the number one checkout. She checks everybody out. I don't check anybody out. So you check everybody.
But it's only for positions.
For certain positions.
For higher end, difficult to fill positions. I mastered it. It was a challenge.
Are you doing it now?
No, I quit my job 4 years ago. 3.5 to 4 years ago in Miami.
You quit right time. Good timing.
I was listening to the previous speaker, and they said follow your passion. Anyway, I said there is more to life. I moved to
filling all these jobs, high-end jobs.
The book is called You First, A New Beginning, because their success is based on money, title, climbing the corporate ladder, accumulating and accumulating. But when
levels.
When I moved to Vegas, I found out my daughter had breast cancer. And she's stronger than me. She's my hero. So I started looking at life a different way. And I thought, you could have so much of the material
and then all of a sudden this comes up.
But your health comes first. She teases me because I tell her, yes, Mom, my health is my wealth. But really, I really do admire her strength. So I haven't worked in 4 years. I've been giving back.
But giving back. It's funny you should say that because my greatest thing is that you've got to understand who you are first, what you are and what you want. Because if you don't know what you want, how's anybody else going to know? So I always say, go into your bedroom, only because I think that should be the most tranquil place in your home. In your bed, and don't think about anything, and just think about what you've achieved and who you are and where you want to go and what do you want, and just kind of relax and understand who you are. Because if you don't know who you are,
Exactly. But one thing I've done is, okay, I'm a female, visible minority. I've opened doors for minorities to get into companies that...
back to the female thing again.
No, not only is a female, visible minority,
The
because
visible
the
minority.
areas I've worked
She's talking
in...
about colour and language, obviously.
When you work in larger corporations, in certain positions, there are doors that may be closed if you don't have an English name. Depending on your accent, if English is your second language. So we've had managers. When I lived in Calgary was mostly British, Scottish, and Irish at the time. They've got more, of a diverse population now. But I was able to open doors and doing my good humanitarian thing for people who ordinarily would not have gotten in.
At the moment, you're talking about colour, because you're talking about language.
Everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
You're talking about everything.
Yeah.
But obviously, you were not shy of any of that. So that didn't even affect you at all. So you went in it as an open door.
That's when I have to, it's an education thing, so I have to remind the managers when they push back. I'd say, sir,
Hang on a second.
I said, sir, my name isn't an English name. Yes, English is my first language. That's the only language I speak. But you can't not consider somebody because they came from a third world country, because English is their second language. So there,
I couldn't agree with you more, because we're all the same. And I was trying to say this before. We're all exactly the same. Some are short, some are tall, some are fat, some are skinny. We're all different. But inside, we're all the same.
Exactly.
Start using what you have inside.
So that's why it's an education thing where I had to push back to the managers to say, hey, listen, select these people based on what their capabilities are, the difficulty of their skill set.
Absolutely.
What can they do for your business or taking?
Because you're bringing them into your business to take on a job that you can't do.
Exactly.
If any of you don't know, but CEOs that own companies and have positions, the reason they employ all these different people is because they can't do it. But they have to trust that person coming in.
Exactly.
So they have to read that mind, they have to understand that person, and maybe they have to watch them a little bit as they're for the first couple of months of which direction they're going in. But that's why a CEO does not know everything. He's just smart enough to admit that he doesn't know everything. That's all he is. That's all he does. I can't do it, so let me get somebody that's really good enough come in and do it.
Yeah, Steve Jobs.
So I've now let the cat out of the bag of why. If none of you knew it. But most people don't know that.
No, well, the Bill Gates and the Steve Jobs and all, they know that.
Of course
so they
know
hire.
that.
They don't have to do everything.
They know they don't
can
have
pay somebody else, who's got the skill set.
Well, the
So why do
Amazon
it
guy,
yourself?
what is it? The Amazon, what's his name? The Amazon. Whatever
what's
his
his
name.
name? I'm having.
Joe Bezos. He doesn't start until 10 o'clock in the morning. So don't think he gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning to be at a job. And actually, this is really quite funny what you're talking about, because if you get up too early and you haven't had enough sleep and you might as well just not work, because you don't function at that time. People think I have to get up at 6 o'clock, I have to go. No, you don't. You're better off going to work at 10 o'clock being functional. You've got up, you've relaxed, you've had your coffee, you watched a little bit of news or stock market or whatever the case is, and you're going to work completely ready to work. Is that true?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You remind me of a joke my daughter just sent.
My whole thing was a joke. Okay. Cool.
No, my daughter, what you just said, she turned it into a joke. She said, Mom, I spent the entire day in my PJs, but I didn't make any money. Like the big
are we talking
CEOs
about COVID-19? There was more pajamas bought in COVID-19 in 2019 and 2020 than any time ever. Everybody was at home in their pajamas. I think the whole families were.
But the big CEOs and whatnot, when you were talking about, their
wear
stocks are
pajamas.
going up and they're in their PJs, but they're making
They're
money.
making money. That's the joke. That's the joke. That's absolutely true.
I thought
but
that was
don't
pretty
get this
funny.
thing about CEOs knowing everything. They don't.
No.
But they're smart enough.
Well, it's like Nelson Mandela said. He said he attended his father when he went with his father the father where the tribal leaders will all get together.
Okay.
And he wouldn't say a thing. This is like having a brown bag lunch or a round table discussion in corporate America and
You don't
Canada.
say anything. Yeah.
You don't say anything. So he would listen to each of the tribal members before he spoke. So he gathered the right
first.
before. So it's like when I'm interviewing someone, I tried not to speak as much because I am gathering information.
Because remember one thing, what you just said. If you are talking, which I do all the time actually, that's my job though, but if you're talking all the time, how can you listen about somebody else, what they've got to say if you're talking? Think about that one. If you're talking, how can they talk? Remember that.
Exactly. I just did a podcast with Denny May. He's a focus coach, and it was networking like a pro. It's on YouTube.
What is networking?
Networking is like us walking into any of the meetup groups. When I moved to North Carolina, so I worked for a global engineering company that transferred me to Raleigh. I didn't know anybody at all. The company paid for me to belong to the Chamber of Commerce, and that was the stepping stone.
They recognize your intellect.
So then you meet these new people from different corporations, different backgrounds and whatnot, and then you join the different meetups.
Yes.
Through each of those, you've only got a few minutes to meet all these different people. So time is of the essence.
Yeah.
Now we already know ourselves. So if we talk too much, how would we know?
How can we listen to them?
Right. Who would be a value add to us?
Notice I'm being quiet.
If we've got a product or a service.
I'm listening.
But you're the interviewer, so I'm the guest.
I'm the worst person, and I apologize to everybody out there if I talk too much, but I can't help it. It's just that's just how I am. That's who I am. But you've got out of all the things you've done, what is the most prominent thing that sticks in your mind that was absolutely thinking, oh my goodness, I've reached my dream. I've reached not the epitome because you've still got time to go. What would that be?
At the time, I can say, I would. But your previous guest mentioned about following your passion. If I have to give my younger self, not my younger self or anybody else, I'd say, we were conditioned to where you've got to go to school, get a degree, work for somebody else, fulfill their dream. What about your dream? Jay Shetty, the famous speaker as well, and former monk, he said, in the Asian community, if you're not a doctor, lawyer, or whatever,
then you're out of the community.
Then you don't have credibility. So your children are forced, in a way, to follow their
They're following somebody else's
dream.
They're following somebody else's dream.
Right.
And I can vouch for that. I never went to school. I never went to college. I don't think I've ever had a mentor. And I've had to learn every single solitary thing myself. So I'm a prize example of what you're saying. Because it may be better for me, I don't know. But I didn't have all those other things to guide me somewhere else. I just went where I went. And it's pretty cool, actually, because now I have Zee next to me. If I wasn't doing what I was doing, I wouldn't have Zee Ali with me. So
sure, you never know. Paths cross for whatever reason. I listened to Mind Valley. The speaker is, his name is Vashan. He's originally from Malaysia. So he talks about the same thing. Follow your dream, follow your passion, because and when I remember when I worked at IBM, young kids would call in and they'd be so sad, and you can't hire everyone, and they have outstanding student loans. They can't get a job because there are others who can hit the ground running. So my heart went out to them, but they followed what they were conditioned
supposed to do. This is what I'm supposed to do. In England, we don't all go to college, which is the greatest thing out, because at 16 you can actually go into an apprenticeship. An apprenticeship is normally 3 years, which means you can be an accountant, a hairdresser, whatever the case may be. But you actually work the job for 3 years and then you become what you are, which I think they're bringing into America more and more.
And that now is like following your passion. If you always want to be a mechanic or electrician, there's always going to be a need for those. Why? There's so many doctors, some of these like Mind Valley and Jay Shetty, they mentioned there's so many doctors who are miserable. They're unhappy. They've got nothing,
lawyers. They can't do anything else because they've got to bring money in to feed the kids, to do this and pay the car, pay the house.
But that's not their passion.
No.
But they were conditioned as this is what success is. I'm glad that my daughter was going to school to be a lawyer. She took some time off, and now she was a bartender on the Strip. And she's
She
so
probably
happy.
loved it. She probably loved
she
it.
loved
because
it.
She got to know other people,
Right.
the real people.
But when she started having health issues, I'm so thankful that it didn't force her or push her to do what society expected as considered
Yes.
success.
Absolutely. So whatever success is, it's
Whatever
actually,
I say, follow your dream,
it's
follow
kind
your
of in your
passion.
mind. It's your own mind. Your success is what you want.
But it's your life, you know. We
Yes.
think we're going to live forever. We're going to think, you know, when I get
Yes.
older, when I, you know.
Yeah.
But how do we know tomorrow is promised?
And
It
by
every
the
day's
way,
a gift.
getting older, it gets there faster than you think. And I'm an example of
Exactly.
it.
In a blink of
The
an
time
eye.
you think about what I'm going to do, you sort of, then you say, I'm too old. You're never too old. You're never too old to actually start what you'd like to do. And, you know,
So
you can do
enjoy
it.
today for today.
Absolutely.
It's a gift.
It's a total gift. We've
It's
been
a
gifted
gift.
today. And enjoy
And
every day.
be happy and content.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
you know, Oprah Winfrey said, "Do what you have to do to make the money. To do later what you want to do."
There you
So
go.
it's simultaneously you can do both until you follow your passion.
Absolutely. How can anybody reach you and, you know, get in touch with
Well,
you?
I'm giving back and I'm volunteering right
Yes.
now. My email address is zeeall@yahoo.com.
Amazing. And you want to do volunteer work? And
I'm
help.
volunteering.
What is your
I
most
consider
passionate
myself
one?
very blessed.
What is your
I am working on something after. I'm working on something right now.
She can't tell us.
I can't
This
say
is the
anything
third
just
guest
yet.
that can't tell me what they're working on.
No, it's in the preliminary stages, so
This is quite funny. I've got this great thing happening, but I can't tell you what it is. Okay.
it's in
love
the
it.
early stages.
So what is your best foundation you like to work for? What is that?
It's giving back and helping. There's so many.
'Cause
I
there's a-
realize in Vegas, I see so many people who are single who don't have families here and stuff. So it's bringing people together, like the Golden Girls,
The Golden Girls, yeah.
sort of something like that.
Okay, yeah, okay.
And skill set. What I'm doing right now is connecting, matching people. If I see Maria needs somebody with certain
Yeah.
skill set, and I could refer or to you or
Wonderful,
to anybody,
yes.
that's what I'm doing.
So helping
I'm
other people. So
helping
your
other
thing.
people without wanting anything in
So
return.
Zee wants to help other people, which I think is what we all want to do. Thank you for watching Vegas Live with Ninon. And don't forget, we are at Amigos Taco. It's absolutely an amazing restaurant. Their food is awesome. The
Yes,
place is
and-
always busy. I don't know where they get all
Love
that.
the ambience.
The ambience is lovely,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Amigos
Absolutely.
Tacos Cantina.
Cantina.
Guys,
There,
check
look
it
at
out.
Keep going. She's a good advertiser. Did you have any food here? Did you eat?
I have eaten before, but it's
Excellent.
I wanted to try their buffet, but I have to check it. I have
And
to
the
come
buffet
early
is
one
something,
day.
I think, what is it, $9.99 or something? Is
$13.99.
Complete buffet,
Buffet.
everything absolutely
Yes.
fabulous. We will be right back with our
I'll
next
have to come
guest.
one day with Barbara Brighton.
There you are, Barbara Brighton says she's going to be a guest of mine. We'll be right back with we might be right back with Barbara Brighton. I think we will be. Be back.